Hello, we are here with Drs Mike and Linda McNair from the This Is Us couples class. Welcome. How are you all doing today?
Wonderful, thank you.
Outstanding.
That's awesome to hear. I had the pleasure of speaking with the Douglases a few weeks ago, and they thought that it would be a good opportunity to get the perspective from your angle as to how this ministry works and how you all co-teach and facilitate. So we'll hop right in there. Can you tell me about your marriage and your family?
We've been married 48 years. It'll be 49 this September, 2022. We met in college. My first year, his second year in college, in undergrad, and the rest is history.
We have 3 children.
And 6 grandchildren.
Each of our children, we had the privilege of officiating their weddings. They, live in they're not in Ohio. They graduated here in Ohio and they left and they didn't come back. So we're a little bit sad about that. Not so sad, but you know what I mean.
And so we have a place to travel.
Right.
We have, 6 grandchildren, wonderful. And each of our children are professionals and they did not follow in our footsteps. But
That's really great to hear. So you all have been married for a long time and have the opportunity to have children and grandchildren. And like you mentioned, places to go since they're not local in Ohio.
yes,
Tell us about how you all came to the House of the Lord and how you got involved with this specific ministry.
Well, we came to the House of the Lord, I think about 7 years ago.
8.
And we had met, I think we had met Bishop Joey a few years before that at some workshops that he had been presenting in Warren, Ohio. And we were connected with, with Mary Duke and her ministry. We always supported her ministry through our community involvement with the local Black press. We own a Black newspaper, the Buckeye Review. And we supported Teen Straight Talk because of that important ministry to youth in the Youngstown, Warren area. So through her workshops, we met Bishop Joey, phenomenal man of God. We were always impressed with him. And then we came to like a sort of a fork in the road with the church that we had been attending. And we knew that the Lord was kind of thrusting us out, but we weren't, we weren't eager to thrust out, right? Because we'd been there a long time. And so when we did, we felt responsible not to try to connect with the church right in Youngstown because we were fairly well known and didn't want people to, try to upset that church and have people follow us. We weren't trying to start a church and make people follow us. And it was a natural for us to, we know Bishop Joey, let's go check him out. And it's been wonderful, wonderful ever since.
And when we met with Bishop Joey privately, and he got a chance to know us, and he heard about, he knows that we have our doctorate in pastoral community counseling, and we also have our master's in social work. So with that in mind, we do a lot of Christian counseling that we've been doing really for over 40 years. And so because of that, he mentioned the marriage ministry. He would love for us to work in the marriage ministry. So that's where we kind of got started. And
we met with the couples council
and
chatted about the vision of the ministry, and we just said, well, we'll make ourselves available, however that we can be used.
Right. Because of all the experience that we have, and we've been counseling couples for a number of years. I know when we spoke to Pastor, Pastor Butts invited us. Pastor Butts invited us to the leadership meeting, and we met with Pastor Herman as well. And he gave us the opportunity to teach a couples class. So we know that the Douglases were doing a marriage class for young people and for young marriages, and we were going to do everything after that, you know. And when we got a chance to meet with them, we said, well, why don't we just merge our classes? Because really, we really shouldn't separate them, because the young can learn from the old and the old can learn from the young. And we're talking about marriages, not necessarily folks. Or
Right. No,
age.
and I can understand that being my age and being married, it'll be 15 years this September. There is
Mhm.
still a lot that I learned from older couples that have been through the different changes in life, from having toddlers to having teenagers, to even becoming empty nesters. So it's really important for us young couples to be able to have those examples to be able to draw from and even just get advice from what's coming next. So
Yes,
it's really great to hear that you all sought to combine that effort so we can continuously have healthy and successful marriages at the house of the Lord.
absolutely. So we've been doing that and having a fun time. You know, before pandemic, the Douglases would, you know, have class one Sunday, and then the next one we would have a class. And so we would just interchange that way. And so once pandemic set in, we didn't want to wear people out, so we would have every other week. So
That's great. You touched on your professional background. Can you tell us how that contributes to the way you facilitate and how that makes your relationship unique to the couples that you all serve in the class?
So our journey, through the stages of, having little kids, teenagers, and dealing with marriage, certainly we noticed, in our experience, when we minister to couples as a couple, it is very different from clinical work when it's one person dealing with a couple, because there's like, oh, he's a man, so he'll take the man's side, or she's a woman, she'll take the woman's side. But our experience, because we operated a ministry, under National Association of Marriage Enhancement, which was a couple upon couple ministry. Now, those couples were not professional counselors, but they were ministers, right? And in that ministry, it's more encouraging to have a couple working with a couple. But the shortcoming was, indeed, if the counselor was not clinically trained, there were some shortcomings in some available resources and being able to help the couple. So our clinical training has certainly helped us to go beyond what basically a Bible cheerleader would do. It's good to be a Bible cheerleader, and we believe in that. But there is some clinical work to deal with people that might be depressed or might need some additional work or might be able to identify some additional areas that need support that we bring to the table, and it's helped us in our marriage. And it's certainly, we can see when we're dealing with cheerleaders, how, okay, now and then, so we've done, travel around the country with the military, for example. And we notice when we minister to a group, there's a lot of fun, excitement, and we try to keep it light. But at the same time, there's always a small handful that needs some deeper work. And that kind of ferrets out after the crowd disperses. Now we can have private chats, and then people can discover, okay, I need a little deeper work. Might want to make an appointment for some individual work or for some counseling work. And sometimes individuals within the couple might need counseling as well. But that's hard to say, as a couple on couple say, well, one of y'all need counseling, but it does come up, So, our professional journey kind of merges with our personal journey and our personal marriage, over the years. All of the stuff that I've learned has helped me to relate to my wife in a manner that's honoring to the kingdom. And one thing that I've always kind of settled on is how I treat her is a mirror of my relationship with God. And while we try to say, oh, we're going to heaven anyhow,
Right.
I I can't say I'm going to heaven anyhow if I'm at odds with my mate, And so it takes work, it takes prayer, but it's a work in progress. We haven't arrived. We keep working.
I love how you touched on the spiritual aspect of like lay counseling that happens naturally in church. But there is a professional side and it has room. And so you guys being able to meld that together is a blessing when we can find that our occupation can meet our spiritual occupation. And the Lord can use both of those things to be able to bring healing and help to those who need it. And oftentimes, especially in our community, we will seek out spiritual guidance, but sometimes we need that mental health piece as well. So it is wonderful to hear that you all are contributing in that manner to the house of the Lord and the couples that we have. I'd love for you guys to tell us a little bit about what you like about the class and give us like an invitation. What should we expect if we choose to stop by and join the This Is Us couples class?
One of the things you can expect is that the class is open. We try to keep things private. What's said in the class stays in the class, and people can say some things, that will sometimes really be private just to the group, but want everyone to know that it's open to everyone. So whether you're a young couple or older couple, whether you're thinking about marriage, this is good for you as well. If you're thinking about marriage, come and join us and with This Is Us. One of the things I really like about the class is that you get the continuity. You keep learning different tools that can help you in your marriage. No one is perfect, which means, and what I'm saying is you can always learn something. So whether you've been, just like going to Sunday school as a child, like my kid's been in Sunday school for 18 years. And guess what? Now that they're grown, they still in Sunday school. So it's not like you received or you obtained. No, there's still some things that need to be learned, and when you stop learning or you stop desiring to learn, really, you stop growing. So we learn from each other. Mike and I, we have our doctorate in pastoral community counseling. We have our master's in social work, which makes us clinicians. And, we have our license, but we still can learn from each other, so we're open.
Yeah, I like to say that we did a program before we came to the House of the Lord called Good Marriages Made Better. And so I would couch the invitation like that. Most people have a good marriage. Marriages, aren't built on a solid foundation. So you don't have to feel like, oh, I'm having trouble, that's why I'm here. No, we have a good marriage, but it can be made better. So I want to echo what Linda said with when we stop learning, that's when really we stop living. Our emotional growth is tied to our spiritual growth. We can't grow spiritually and not grow emotionally. And we grow in community. You cannot grow in an isolated situation where it's just me and I'm growing. Only way you know you're growing is because you're rubbing up against somebody else and say, oh yeah, I better go back to the prayer closet, or I ought to check this out, do a little better. So come to This Is Us.
And learn some new tools.
Right. And we have been, me and my wife have been, like I said, we've been together over 14 years and started through premarital counseling We've done some of the small couples groups and recently joined an additional one in this last year. So the House of the Lord Marriage Ministry is strong. The Couples Council does some excellent work to make sure that we have healthy marriages at the House of the Lord. Dr. Mike and Dr. Linda, I really appreciate your time today, just talking about your heart for ministry and how you all are helping the This Is Us couples class and be able to grow both spiritually, emotionally, and have that healthcare and clinician side and feedback going on in that class. So if you all are interested in learning how you can join the This Is Us couples class, the details are below. The class meets virtually currently every other Sunday between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Thank you all so much for joining us and have a good day.